I have to say that I absolutely love this pattern. I think it's one of the best patterns that I have ever made. And today I'm going to show you how to sew it step by step. Very easy tutorial, hopefully easy to follow along. I mean, trying to explain everything easily, but I know it might not be that easy for everybody. If you would like to sew this top with me, the pattern is available on Etsy on Egomet Patterns, and this top also comes with a skirt, not a shirt, skirt, the same word almost, but so different, right? It comes with a skirt, and the skirt is also available on Etsy. You can buy them together. There's a bundle. I'll just send you there so you can figure out for yourself. But yeah, that's basically where you can find this top. Just a few things that I love about it is I love that it's lined. And I always love lining. I don't know, this is just my thing. And if you wanted to know how to sew lining with a Raglan sleeve, this is definitely a tutorial to watch. And the sleeves are also lined. And this creates that beautiful puff. I absolutely love it. I know sometimes when we sew a puff sleeve, we're tempted to just add elastic here at the hem. The lining just creates this beautiful puff. It's not the same as elastic. This shirt is made out of linen, and linen of course screams summer, spring, beach. For this pattern to work and look a little bit more puffy, you have to use fabric that has more structure. So if you want to make it more elegant for fall, for winter, just more elegant for, I don't know, any occasion that you would like to wear it for, I would say use some taffeta, like a silk taffeta or polyester taffeta, anything that holds structure. If you use fabric that's more drapey, like silk, satin, then the top will look completely different. That's why I would recommend using something that has more structure. This pattern is of course more of an intermediate. It's definitely intermediate or maybe even advanced level sewer, but it is easier than making a collared shirt, for instance, like sewing something like this. I think this is easier. So if you want to start learning how to make a little bit more advanced shirts, I think this shirt is definitely a way to go. But anyways, let's go and watch the video together. And yeah, I will see you in the future. I'll see you in the future, probably in a week or two. Hey guys, it's voiceover Sarah here. Just to let you know, I've already pre-washed the fabric and cut out all of the pattern pieces. I'm using linen, and for the lining, I'm using cotton gauze. As you can see here, I'm matching all of the side seams together because I'm going to sew them first. If you're new to sewing, you always have to backstitch your seams at the beginning and at the end. Here I'm sewing a straight seam. Oh, and also I'm working on lining first. You'll see I'll repeat the same steps for the main fabric later. When both sides are done, the next thing to do is to reinforce the back opening. When it comes to lining, I just place a pin to remember when to finish stitching. For main fabric, I use fusible tape, as you can see here, but you can also use fusible interfacing. It's basically the same thing. And of course, after that, I just sew a straight stitch in center back. Make sure to stop at the back opening. You basically have to leave the back opening open. After that, I like to press all of the seams flat and open. As you can see, I repeat the same steps for main fabric as I did for lining. I stitch all of the seams together. Alright, let's work on sleeves. The first thing that I do is pin shoulder dart, and then I stitch from wide end to point, And after that, I stitch underarm seams as well. This is what I call point, and this is what I call wide end. You have to sew from wide end to point. You don't have to worry that much about being super precise with sleeve lining. It won't be visible on the outside anyways. Just sew as well as you can, but don't overthink it. I didn't record it, but I always press the seams flat and open after every move, basically. Then I place the sleeve inside the bodice, right sides together. I like to match the notches and underarm seams first and then the rest. Also, I move and shape both layers of fabric between my fingers because sometimes the fabric stretches or we cut it wrong, but it's possible to mold it together to create smooth seams. So basically just move it around a little bit and all the seams should be matching okay. Then I just sew a straight seam. I am marking seam allowance for raglan puff sleeve and then gather the shoulder to create fold. The reason why I need to know where the seam allowances are is because I want to start gathering in the seam line. I like to reinforce the shoulder, so I attach a stay tape. To be honest, the tape was a little too thin, and for the future I would go with a cotton tape. Then I sew underarm seams as well, and press before attaching to the bodice. In the next couple seconds, you'll see how I'm attaching the sleeve, and basically you have to do it exactly the same way as you did for the lining. It's the same step. There's literally no difference. Everything is pinned together and you have to just straight stitch the whole sleeve. It's very simple. After I finish with the bodice, I press everything once again. When you're done with pressing the sleeve, remember to notch and trim the curve in the sleeve. This will allow us to move our arm a little bit better and it will just look less bulky. And don't worry if the seams don't look that pretty. It's all going to be lined, so it won't be visible on the outside. Alright, let's attach the lining to the bodice. I place the bodice inside the lining, right sides together, and the first thing that I do is pin the neckline and sew it together. Here you can see the neckline is pinned, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just straight stitch from center back to center back, basically from the right one to left one. Then I move the seam allowance towards lining and understitch it on the right side of lining. Here I pin the back opening and sew a straight stitch, and I stop right where the center back seam line begins. And that's how it looks like when you turn it to the right side. But first I have to trim the seam allowances and cut the corners. This will create a nice sharp edge. I like to use scissors to push the corners out. Just be careful not to cut through the fabric. Okay, the hardest part, which is connecting the sleeve lining to main sleeve. I am folding the sleeve in half and marking the notch that is halfway from underarm seam. And then I do the same for lining, so I fold the sleeve in half and mark the notch. Then I pin both layers together. I do it where the notch and seam is, but the key is to fold the sleeve hem to the inside, so the right sides are facing each other, just like this. This step is quite necessary in my opinion because it will help us later to just put the sleeve together when we move it to the other side, so don't skip it. Then I place my hand in between lining and main fabric. I grab that notch that I created earlier and pull the pinned notch through to the outside. So I basically pull the sleeve and it creates kind of like a tunnel. It looks like a tunnel. At this point, I decided to unpin it to gather the sleeve hem. After I finish gathering it, I'll attach it exactly the same way as it was attached before I unpin it. Here, I match the notches and the underarm seams first. So basically what we marked before. And then I spread the gathers evenly, so if we do it this way, the sleeve won't twist and turn in a weird way when we wear the shirt later. This step is actually quite important, so always notches first and then everything else. Then I just sew a straight stitch. After I'm done with it, I turn it back to the right side and it looks good, thankfully. Lastly, I'll attach the elastic. It's a non-roll elastic. All the info and questions that you might have, I'll just direct you to the manual, and that's where you should go for like the size of elastic and all those informations. That's where it will be. I decided to base the hem in place so it won't move. It's just easier for me to do it this way than just pinning it. As you can see, I place the elastic on the outside of the hem. The elastic is already sewn together, so I attach the edges together. I just turn the outside hem towards the lining and pin in place. Then I sew a straight stitch and the shirt is done. I forgot to record it, but I attached hook and eye where the back opening is. So this is the last thing that you have to do, and the shirt is beautifully done. Hopefully you liked the tutorial. For more information, check the manual. That's where you'll find your answers. And if this shirt seems too complicated for you, check out other videos, more are to come. Most importantly, don't give up on sewing. The more you practice, the better you become. I'll see you guys next week.